Okay, so the past couple days we have been working with editing photographs, and yesterday we were working with the website GCF Learn Free, and we're doing cropping, rotation, and resizing of pictures. And you downloaded some pictures, these ones right here, put them in a folder, and you did your thing with those three tools and had a total of 12. So we have a very similar lesson this time. But now we're in the section where it's called fixing common problems, and those common problems are brightness and contrast, color, and sharpness. So just going through this lesson really quickly, with those tools, here are the 6 original images that you're going to be working with. So once again, you'll download those. But before I do that, I'm just going to go through kind of what the lesson is asking you to do. Pixlr X, again, is the program online that we'll be using. So brightness. Sometimes your image comes out too bright or too dark, and you're going to use brightness and contrast to actually fix that. So this right here, you're having a difficult time kind of seeing the faces a little bit. The tree is providing a little too much shade for your subject, so there are ways to fix that with image editing. So when there's not a lot of light in the picture, you can get some what they call noise or graininess, and that's why we have cool tools like Photoshop and others to fix that. Here's another example. Original image, a little too dark. Maybe you didn't use the flash. There's all sorts of reasons why, but we can fix it. Now contrast is the difference between light and dark areas in a picture. So on this website they actually give you a little tool right here to show that. So if you were to put this right in the middle here, that's a pretty good picture, just original picture. More contrast, as you can see, it's just kind of making the darks darker and the lights lighter. And if you take less contrast, then it just kind of gets washed out and everything's kind of muted in the same kind of note, if you will, as far as the picture goes. So there's a way to kind of get that nice medium balance with the brightness and contrast. So in Pixlr, there's an adjust button, brightness, exposure, and contrast that you can mess around with to make your picture look better. Photoshop, once we get into that, there are a lot of more tools that we can use, including levels and curves that make it way easier. So color correction, you have saturation that you have to deal with. So dull and muted colors need to be less or more saturated to become more vivid. So you have original image, slightly more saturated, even more saturated right here, maybe a little too fake according to some people. Original image right here, desaturated, takes some of it away, and then you're back to black and white. So when you're removing saturation, you're actually getting more towards the black and white instead of color. So again, on this site, you can kind of mess around with the saturation tool to see the differences. So I would like, right here, I would have saturated it right here because I like the bright, vibrant pinks and the foreground greens right here. So on Pixlr X, you're at the adjust button. You have vibrance, saturation, temperature, and tint. So we're messing with saturation this time. This is too much, so that looks cartoony, so you want to be careful when you're doing your saturations. Other color corrections that we will go over once we get into Photoshop: vibrance, temperature, and filters. I mean, yeah, you can get into them with Pixlr X, but for the most part, we're just going to do the 3 tools from today. Another one we're going to do is sharpening. You're enhancing the edges of a photo, so this one looks a little kind of blurry. With the sharpening tool, you can make it look much better. You can see the edges of the feathers come out a little better, more detail in the face. This one right here, over sharpened, it looks like a pencil sketch. So there is such a thing as enhancing a photo too much. We've all seen it on Instagram, haven't we? So again, we have a tool that we can play with to kind of get that sharpness looking good. Again, that's way too unnatural. If we got down to maybe here, then we're looking at a really good picture of a hawk. On Pixlr X, you're going to filter. On that filter, you've got sharpen, clarity, and smooth, and we're going to play around with the sharpen tool. Image noise has to do with like the graininess that you'll get in a photo, and a lot of times that has to do with the light that was either there or not there. So with image noise, that can be fixed with tools in our editing as well. So they give you a little slider to play with that too. In Pixlr X, you can go to the filter and there's a denoise filter that will help you do that. And then you've always got, put your faith into the software to auto-fix things, which sometimes does the trick. I've done that with some sports posters where you just do auto-fix and you're like, wow, that looks pretty good. I'm not sure if I can really make that look much better. So that's always a nice way in Photoshop or some other advanced program to get your images looking pretty darn good. So here's the challenge. We're going to download these. You're going to mess with brightness, contrast, saturation, and sharpening, and you're going to have, again, 12 photos. 6 of them you've already downloaded. 6 of them you will have made changes to. So again, you're going to be creating a new folder, and I'll call this Images for Pixlr 2, and go back and just like download these. So left click, then right click. And then, so that's image number 1, left click, then right click, and then they're getting into the same folder now, Images for Pixlr 2. Once you've done the first one, Windows gives you the option of just going right into the same folder. And we'll just download all these. So that's 3 out of 6. Going around here, left click, right click again. Nope, I did not want to zoom. Did not want to zoom on the squirrel butt. Alright, so saving for left click and right click. That's what I was doing on the squirrel. Too many left clicks. Okay, 5, and then last one. And now I'm going to have all 6 photos in my folder. And I'm going to make my adjustments on Pixlr X with the tools that we talked about. And then I'm going to have 12 pictures in there. And so this folder, once I'm finished with it, will have 12. Go over to my drive, new, folder upload. And once that folder is uploaded, let's move my picture out of the way here. Ooh, where did the one from yesterday go? Let's see. Don't see it. Maybe I didn't put it. Oh no, it was the other one. Okay, that's fine. So let's just pretend it's this Blue Nation Student Store folder. I can click this arrow, share, get the shareable link, and then you copy the link, and then you go over to your Google Classroom and turn it in. So here's a student view, and today's assignment, I haven't quite put because it's right here. I was creating it, brightness, contrast, color, sharpness. I've got the link there, so I'm just going to assign that right now on the teacher side. And once that's finished, I can go over to the student side and refresh, and it should pop up here. There we go. Brightness, contrast, color, sharpness. Let's pretend that I did my work and I have all 12 in there. So I'm going to do a link. I'm going to Control V to paste my link to my folder. Couldn't add link. What a lie. So let's go back and see why. Get shareable link, copy link. Okay, boom. Link, paste.
Okay, stop. Here's a fix. Some people have been having trouble with Google Classroom, saying that there's an error when they upload a full folder, like we tried to do with the pictures on the cropping, resizing, and rotating images. So here's a workaround, a backup, if you get that error message like I did in this video. So what you can do is use your OneDrive, which is the Microsoft one, the Office 365. So if you go to onedrive.fresnou.org and sign in with your Atlas credentials, which is your email for the school, which is different than the Google one that I gave you, the BHS Night account. And you can do the same thing as you did for the Google Drive one. So on Google Drive you did folder upload. Same thing with your OneDrive. So you do upload, and you would upload a folder. And let's say I'm doing this Pixlr editing number 1 again. In this case it's number 2, so I've got all 12 files in there. I'll upload, and then once I already have one that exists. Cool. So it's already there. So once it's here in your OneDrive, you're going to go here to Share, and you're going to copy the link, and that's what you turn into the Google Classroom assignment. You can do that even as not a backup. That could be your primary way of saving files. But if you are one of the few people who are having a problem with Google Classroom telling you you can't upload a folder, try this.